What's happening, bunnies? And today we've got a great Goblin Gamble gameplay, so I really hope you guys enjoy it. We are up against quite a strange composition at the end of the game, so I don't even know how to explain it. There's a bit of assassin, a bit of spirits, a bit of witcher, a bit of demon in there. I'm not quite sure exactly what he was going for, but it was a strong comp at the end of the day, and I won't let you know what the outcome was. But Goblin Gambles for the win. Let's see how it goes. If you guys enjoy, please don't forget to drop a like and a subscribe, and we'll catch you in the gameplay. Enjoy. Alrighty, what's happening, bunnies? It's a good gameplay today. I have been super excited to get one of these going. It is just a casual match. I had my brother in the lobby as well, Crunchy Leaf. You can see him there, Crunchy Elf in third position on the list there. And and the reason is because I've been struggling to get one of these going in rank play for a while. So I saw the opportunity in this match, and I thought, let's just jump in and try this kind of composition. And it's the Goblin Gamble. Now, for me, as you guys will have seen in my previous videos, I'm a big fan of the Goblin Gamble, but it is a gamble, and that makes it quite difficult to pull off and execute correctly. So the idea with the Goblin Gamble is relatively straightforward. You have 6 goblins that you can actually find that are available in the pool, and that's your Skybreaker, your Heaven Bomber, your Ripper, your Soulbreaker, your Venomancer, and your Devastator. So in order to make this strategy work, you have to have all 6 goblins. The problem is the 6th Goblin Devastator is a 5-cost piece, so he's extremely difficult to find, and if you don't find him, the reality is you will generally lose the match. And the reason is this: your armor and HP ratings for Goblin and Mech are really strong early game and moving in towards mid game, but from the mid to late game, the effectiveness or the armor rating that these guys are given, that buff, becomes almost irrelevant, because the strength of the rest of the players are far outweighs what the goblins are able to hold at that point in time. So what does that mean? It means that if you do get the 6th goblin and you fulfill that entire synergy, then the armor buff is absolutely unbelievable. It's really big, and those become actually quite overpowered, those units. So the idea is quite simple. You have to find all 6 goblins, and secondly, you need to get as many of them to level 3 as possible, because similarly at the early game, these guys are really powerful at level 2, level 1, level 2 even, and level 3. But once it gets to the end game, you have got to get the 6th goblin, which is the Devastator. Otherwise you stand no chance, and that's why it's called the Goblin Gamble. So you'll see in this instance I've already picked up 3 of the core units, but generally, as per I think a lot of guys, how the standard opening synergy sort of works, pick up some goblins and then see what the shop offers, look at what the other players are playing, and decide what do you want to branch into in terms of synergy and composition. So at this stage, I've still got other options available. You'll see that I do have, I'm looking at potentially moving into assassins. What's nice is that if you do push 3 stars on your Goblin Mechs, you can run Goblin Assassin, and that can be quite an effective composition, especially mid to late. But in this instance, I don't suspect that I would be running down the Goblin Gamble route. The other thing you can consider with Goblin Gamble is that because there's only 6 pieces, you will have supporting pieces, which are very important. Because you have Venomancer in as your 5th goblin, that means that you have potential for a Warlock synergy. And so what's great about that is you can run any of your really strong pieces, like a Soul Reaper, can really help with even a Desperate Doctor if you want to get Warlock in there. I've seen guys run Poisonous Worm, but I think maybe like a Ghost Prophet would be even stronger for that kind of synergy. So let's see what happens. We already know we're going Goblin Gamble, but at this stage you haven't made that decision. So you'll see there are Gods of War available, and I pick up all of those because a level 2 God of War early game is always nice to have, depending on what strat you're going into. But again, at this stage, the impression is we're going probably into assassins. The three assassins that I've got there are pretty decent as well. So Soulbreaker is always nice opening because it goes with the Goblin, synergy. But then if you can level up the Phantom Queen, she is super strong. Even in early game, she's super strong because her ultimate is extremely powerful, and it affects multiple units. I've also got the Lord of the Sand. Now I think Lord of Sand at level 1, not that powerful. It does have the stun effect, which is great, and it hits multiple units. But I think that once you get it to level 2, and you maybe throw in a couple of items, it can be an absolutely game-changing unit, actually. So I pick up a couple more items there. We've now got potentially the Abyssal Crawler that we could look into at a later stage. But as you can see, they're just feeding me a whole lot of these of these Goblin and Mech pieces. So I was about to say, I think we'll probably get rid of the Abyssal, and now we really start contemplating whether or not we're going to run a Goblin Gamble. My suggestion would be, if you are doing it, always have a backup or a branching strat available. You never want to decide from the get-go that you're running Goblin Gamble, because you really need to set up your strategy quite carefully, just in case you don't get the the Devastator as your 6th Goblin. You are going to struggle into late game, so then you just need to consider your front units as tanks and or as carries, and then get other units as supporting units. So nothing cool in this shop. We are at round 8, so we want to start considering not overspending yet. I think once we get to golems, we can focus more on economy. The other thing that's important to know is that a lot of the units that you require for Goblin Gamble are 1 and 2 star units, 1 and 2 cost units. So you don't want to level up too quickly either. That's also very important to remember. So what you'll pick up here is we're on level 5 now, and I'm hoping, for the sake of what I'm trying to demonstrate here, is that we don't level up next round, because we need to get as many of the 1 cost pieces as we can in the lower levels. Once we economize up and we level up to the higher levels, it becomes far more unlikely that we're going to run into those low cost units. So we want to try and get our 3-star units as soon as possible. And you can see I've gone exactly against that. So not necessarily the best way to play Goblin Gamble. If we were on an amazing win streak, different story, because we'd obviously want to continue that win streak. But it's really important that we spend what we need to in the early stages. And now we've already hit level 6, so we would require now a little bit more of the RNG luck to be able to get the rest of the pairs that we need to get level 3. That being said, you will still be able to get them all throughout the game. It just makes the likelihood less. So as much as you can optimize and create or utilize the early rounds, the more you can do that, the better for Goblin Gamble. Okay, so we've got Perfele, which is in 2nd place, and he's running Spirit's Assassin. So we're not the only guys running Assassins. Remember, at this stage we are still an Assassin comp. So there's 2 Assassin comps running there. You will often see Goblin Mech comps in the early stages of the game, before the guys branch out into their full compositions or into their different strategies. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. Yeah, I think we'll be okay here with the level 2 Heaven Bomber. It's unfortunate that we don't have a level 2 Soulbreaker at this stage. Usually that's one of the first pieces that you manage to get to level 2 or to 2-star. Yeah, I think already at this stage, the reason that I'm keeping the God of War level 2 or 2-star is in case I branch directly into assassins. You can see I haven't picked up a lot more assassins or managed to get any of them to level 2. If I did manage to, the divinity could come into play. If I don't go goblin make assassin, you can go divinity assassin, which is a really strong comp. In order to do so though, I would probably need to get rid of the Phantom Queen, because the demon synergy makes the demon synergy makes the divinity synergy null and void. So we couldn't use that piece in that instance. But divinity assassin, definitely a usable comp, and it can be quite effective in the current meta as well. Just on a side note as well, I'm quite excited. We're looking at doing our first stream. Our Twitch setup is almost complete. We've been running some testing for the last few days, so hopefully we'll be able to get our first live stream going in the not too distant future. I don't know if we'll have any viewership, but the idea is that if you guys are watching this video and you hear what I'm saying now, maybe you'll join us in the next few days. It is Broken Bunnies, so you can check out Broken Bunnies Gaming on twitch.tv. If you guys don't know what Twitch is, it's a live streaming platform. You'll find a lot of gamers going on there, and you can come and support and watch some live streaming and playing the games live, and we have a chat that we can communicate in. It's a really awesome channel for us to connect more and build the community better. And it's definitely, after YouTube, it's definitely the next step for me to try and grow this community. Number one, help grow autochess as a sport, or as a game and as a sport, as an esport, as well as grow Broken Bunnies, and hopefully the Broken Bunny community as well. We've been doing quite nicely on Facebook to grow the page. We are very, very slow into YouTube, but I know that it's just a patience game, and eventually we'll get a lot of following there. And thereafter, Twitch will be our next step. So really excited to bring that to you guys. I know also the tournament for the EU Auto Chess mobile version is next Friday. It's the House Cup, and they're doing qualification or qualifiers for the EU servers, and that's next Friday. So I'm hoping to be able to stream some of that live if I'm able to get the stream set up 100% ready for that stage. So yeah, please come join on that, and you can watch the qualifiers live. I've checked the rule set, and we are allowed to, so it's going to be quite exciting if we can get that going. So yeah, just a side note for you. Alright, we've got our level 2 Ripper in there, which is great. You can see we've level 2'd our Phantom Queen as well, which is really important because we're now moving towards mid game. We're exiting the early game, but you can see the fact that we keep getting more Goblin Mech pieces is pushing us into the Goblin Gamble concept. So maybe that's a strat that's now starting to tick in my head and say, well, this might be a direction for us to go. We've got already 4 of the 6 goblins, and we've got most of them to 2-star with a couple on the bench. So a very good position for us to be in at this stage. Also, we've managed to get to level 7 a bit early, I feel. I know by round 21 you want to be at level 8, and that's only 7 rounds. And that's still 7 rounds to come. So I think we're a little bit early into 7, and that's okay, because we have been win streaking. So we had the economy to do so, and it's also enabled us to get that God of War on there, which is just providing us with a little bit of a distraction for the rest of the teams whilst our Goblin Mechs do the DPS. So I'm really happy and comfortable with where we are at the moment, and it would be nice if we can either get some more stars onto our assassins, or start building up a bench that obviously has more goblins on it. You can see our bench is, although we have the 3 pieces on there, it's quite empty for this stage of the game. It's definitely not directed towards an assassin build, and And if we were definitely going into assassins, we would need to make sure we have a couple of pieces optional on the bench, because we'd probably want to either go 3 or 6 assassins, and at the moment we've got 3, so we'd need a couple options just in case we level up and we need space to put pieces on the board. We'd need options on the bench to do so. At least for this game, and you guys know I pointed out in every video, in this game I remembered the wolf pack, so I've repositioned back so that when they jump over, I've got my hard units on the back line, and you can see there the God of War plays perfectly into that, and he again distracts so that the rest of the goblins and the assassins on the back there can deal the DPS, whilst he keeps the blue wolves occupied. Great, so we climb through them quite easily. We now need to focus on completing our 3-star goblins, potentially finding a Venomancer quite soon. Definitely by level 7 we can find one, and by level 8 we'll even have a chance of doing so, and then just economizing. So we need to get to 50 econ as soon as we can. Cool. So if we're not 100% certain that we're going Goblin Mech now, that Shadow Crawler is an absolutely key piece. So that's probably why we take her. It's not going to affect our econ at this stage, but yeah, for this strat, it absolutely makes sense that we put the Shadow Crawler on there, and we just need to fix our pieces and position back to our normal positioning. And we are now up against Lost Day on his board as well. And he's running a Glacier Knight combo or composition. So I always get those confused between compilation, and composition. So he's running a great composition here, and and we're still stronger. So we've now hit the 10 streak, I think, the 8 or 10 streak. I think it's an 8 streak, so happy with that. Now, I think a lot of the time, the mistake that's made at this stage is people who are running Goblin Mech don't realize that this winning streak can't continue indefinitely if you maintain these 2-star units. So there's a lot of 2-star units that you can use all the way to the end of the game because they're just strong enough to do so, and a lot of your carries can actually be 2-star carries. If you look at your knights as an example, you'll obviously want to get your you'll try and get your Hull Knight to level 3, you'll try and get Lightning Blade to level 3 or 3-star, and you'll try and get your Frost Knight to 3-star. But the rest of them are, you know, even if you don't get them there, they can still hold their ground. Goblins, as you start moving into the round 20 plus, you'll see that their effectiveness becomes far less. It'll diminish quite quickly. So as it stands, it looks like we're just running through everybody. We've got this huge streak going, which is wonderful, and you then get too confident and you forget that that is not sustainable throughout the match. So it's something that you need to take into account. You either have to have a supporting synergy building up, or you need to be pushing those 3-stars. It's absolutely imperative. So here we get our Shadow Caller. We definitely want that just for now. Again, we haven't yet gone into a full Goblin Gamble strat yet. And also we'll pick up the Soul Breaker because for some reason, even though it's around 18, we still haven't managed to find 3 of them to get to level 2. So this is an interesting comp. It's a Glacier comp. I see Glacier units and I see the one ranged unit. I'm not sure exactly what he's running. What I didn't do well here is Scout. Again, it's always something that I need to be improving on. So I'm not entirely sure what everyone else is playing, but I'm sure we'll check it out soon and then we can figure out exactly who's running what. As you can see, Anoxist is on a winning streak at the moment, and that's something that we do want to check out. We do have other guys running losing streaks. I think Pepsi's probably AFK because he's on 95 econ, so that's probably not intentional. For those of you who don't know, you can only econ up to 100. It caps it there, so he wouldn't be pushing up to, you can see now he's on 100, he wouldn't be pushing up there intentionally with no HP. So he's definitely AFK, so we'll probably lose him soon. But Anoxist is the one we need to be having a look at as well. You can see Crunchy Leaf, that's my brother that side. He's now also struggling. He hasn't played econ very well, but he's level 3, or 3-starred his Tusker, or his Tusk champions, so that should be quite interesting to see if the gamble pays off. We're now facing Hum Hater. He had some B synergy there, but we definitely wiped through that as well. Okay, so Pepsi's finally out. And we're still getting goblins. We're getting 1-cost goblins, and it's quite late into the game to be doing so. But we've got all our pairs, so we're ready now to get our second pairs towards our 3-star units. We don't have any double pairs yet, any 2-star pairs. We've got only single 2-stars, and then our 1-stars on the bench. So we definitely need to start finding some more of those pieces shortly. On the bright side, we have reached 50 econ, so that's great news for us. It means that we can spend the interest every round. We're almost on level 8, as you can see. We'll be able to roll up on curve to level 8 and get another piece on the board, and then we can actually maybe do a high roll, maybe down to 30 or even 20, and pick up those final units so that we can get our level 3 or our 3-star goblins.
I cut down trees and foes, and I'm
cool. So we get our first one. That's the Ripper. So now we have 2-star Rippers. And we do level up on curve so that we can put him on the board. Okay, this might be a bad call in terms of positioning. Yeah, because what happens there, because of the way we positioned there, our Phantom Queen actually jumped to the back end, to the back of the board. The idea is that by having Phantom Queen just behind the God of War, she actually remains stationary there and has an opportunity to build up her mana so that she can ultimate. What she did now was jump to the back line. She gets killed almost immediately, and we actually waste all that HP. So even though we put on a new 2-star unit additional to what we had in our win streak, we actually lose that match or that round, and
will be dominated.
And that's very unfortunate because it was unnecessary.
Something.
Yeah.
Want the secret to creating gold? The sell button is up on the right.
It might have been a bit unlucky as well, because if I look, she's actually positioned in an okay place. I think we just needed to, we needed maybe to keep our units forward. So we get our 5th goblin. That's great. So Venomancer's now in front, and we put him frontline because, especially against your warrior teams, and this is probably a good example, he needs to get his ultimate off as soon as he can, and he doesn't do it this round. I think he was stopped for some reason, but that's okay. So by being in the front line, he'll take some damage, and that'll allow him to get his ultimate off, which reduces the armor of all the other units. And that's another reason why Goblin Gamble is so strong, because you substantially increase the amount of armor that your pieces have, and at the same time with your Venomancer you manage to reduce everyone else's armor. So that's a great sort of combination of actions to have. Also, here's some exciting times. We get 2 eggs, and I'm not sure what we do here. We'll probably take them both because we still have some econ to fiddle with. And this is a move that I think a lot of people will argue about. There were 2 reasons why I did that. Number one, as I mentioned, in the later rounds it's far less likely that you're going to run into the lower cost goblin pieces that you require. And we're already now in round 23, we're on level 8, and the likelihood is much less that we're going to get those units that we require. Secondly, I was completely out of time there, and I would have ended up having to
Almost
sell
as
units
sweet
that I
as
didn't
joy.
want to sell. So it was a bit of a rush decision, and you never want to spend a 5 cost strange egg on level 2ing a 1 cost unit, which is what I did there. But I think it was a little bit of a rush decision. It was something that I just I didn't want to lose any of those two strange eggs, and I wasn't running into the pieces. It also creates bench space for me, so you know, you guys can argue with me on that one, but I'm okay with it for now. It was a decision that I just had to make. Now we get Venomancer. His ultimate goes off nicely, and you can also see we're actually on a losing streak now. So this is what I was talking about earlier. We're now moving towards the mid-20s in terms of rounds, and all these 2-star units that we had, Goblin Mech units, have become quite useless, and we're losing a lot of our rounds now. We're on a losing streak, and that's actually expected. So if we don't get our 3-star Goblin Mechs really quickly, we're actually going to start dropping down that ladder at a rapid rate. So we need to make sure that we get those units, and this is the opportune time when you notice that your comp is swinging from extremely powerful to extremely weak. You need to immediately start considering your high roll. So at this stage I need to spend money, and you can see I'm doing that. So I think at this point I'm deciding whether or not I want to go below 50, because the round's about to start and it's a creep round. So you don't want to be spending a lot of money on creep rounds, and so keeping it above 50 is probably the right call for now, because it should be free money, right? And that's why you don't want to spend money. You're going to get interest on this round, and in all fairness, for most of these creep rounds you shouldn't be losing them. Yeah, you shouldn't really be losing them. There are exceptions to that, but for the most part you don't want to be losing them.
The enemy's just a
Great, so we've locked our Venomancer in, which gives us a level 2 or 2-star Venomancer, and that's nice. That's going to be nice and powerful for us, and by hook or crook we actually do manage to get 2 more Skybreakers, which means we're only 1 short of the 3-star there. We've got one of our Rippers available, so yeah, so that's great, and we need 2 more or 3 more Skybreakers, sorry, Heaven Bombers as well. So we're still expecting to lose rounds here. Okay, our comp isn't strong at the moment. We're super strong, and now that the guys have started to level up the rest of the opposition, we should actually be losing these rounds. And as you can see now, even though we're on level 8 and we have 8 pieces on the board, we're losing, and we're actually losing quite heavily. And the reason for that is that we haven't found our 3 stars. So we now need to make a decision. Do we roll down, or what are we going to do here? Because we can't continue on this light, otherwise we are going to lose this match. Okay, and my brother was knocked out there, so he came out in 7th with whatever comp he was running. So unfortunate there. You can see we also decide to reposition away from the central location now, and we do sort of the right hand side block, the block position, which is okay. Potentially, if we get our other units up to 3-star, or if we have anything left over, we can get rid of that God of War, because we're clearly not going to be running, or maybe we are. Maybe we're going to run a Goblin Gamble with Assassins. Let's see how this plays out. I would think we'd probably want to run Warlock, because Warlock goes quite nicely with the Goblin Mechs in, for the lifesteal. So we've got heavy armor and lifesteal, but I guess we'll see how it goes. I think we just got our first 3-star. Yes, we did. We got our 3-star Ripper, and that's probably the most powerful of the frontline pieces in the Goblin Mech, besides Devastator, which I consider a frontline piece. Between Skybreaker and Ripper, Ripper's the stronger 3-star, so happy that we've got him, and that'll just help carry us a little bit more than what we are achieving at the moment. So maybe we can actually win a round or 2, which gives us a little bit of a buff towards, you know, getting our in terms of time, just to allow us more time to find the last pieces that we require. Okay, it also means that if we are losing, and you guys know we've talked about losing streaks before, if I'm going on to a losing streak, at least the amount of HP that I'm losing per round is reduced substantially. So that's good news. That's good news for me here. And you can see I moved past 2 shining assassins, which if I was running a full goblin strat, the shining assassin is an absolutely overpowered piece. So a wonderful piece to have in an assassin composition. And I would definitely have picked those 2 up. You can get a level 2 shining assassin, you're in a good place. So our Venomancer is definitely helping. Just unfortunate that he is ulting at the sort of lower region of the board instead of towards the corners where the opposition's squishies are, because that would really help once we break through. But I think we're going to win this match, and we do. So that's great news. And that was actually against Anoxist, and he's top of the leaderboard on a win streak at the moment. So the fact that we've beaten him is a hopeful sign that we're still in the right direction. Okay, so it's a creep round now. I'm hoping I've noticed that, so that I don't think we're going to get level 3 Venomancer, so it's not likely that we'll pick that up. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to roll below 50, because it is a creep round. So even though it's Thunderhide, it's a creep round. We want to make sure that we don't spend too much there, because it's free interest, and that just gives us an extra roll or so that we can potentially find those pieces. And you can see we're only 1 away from Skybreaker level 3 or 3-star, and we're only 2 away from Heaven Bomber 3-star. Yeah, so actually a little bit closer than I would have liked, but that's okay. Again, we know that at a 2-star level, these pieces aren't the strongest. There we get our second last Heaven Bomber, so we're just 1 away. Oops, and then we find one of them. So that is our level 3 Skybreaker, and we get another Soulbreaker as well. And I actually think, because we've got Venomancer in, that Ghost Prophet might be a great idea to pick up. I think I don't know, I'm assuming we should pick that up. If not, we should at least lock it in for now. But that's a great unit to go with the... You can see I keep opening that shop because I'm contemplating, and I have locked it in, which means that I'm definitely looking to get the interest from this round and then pick up that piece. This is Hum Hater, who's currently in 4th, and he's strong at the moment. He's running a warrior composition, but he does have a 2-star Storm Shaman, and he should win this round. Unless we're a little bit lucky. Okay, we're a little bit lucky, so he doesn't manage to knock us out. But we'll take that. Cool, so now we'll pick up the Ghost Prophet. We can roll down a little bit. And I think now we're contemplating a Soul Reaper as well, and potentially even a Storm Shaman. So yeah, okay, great. So we pick up all of those. So this is a big move here. Okay, so this is a game-changing decision where we decide to lose the Assassin synergy and instead go for Warlocks. The Warlock synergy is great. It would be nice to have 4 Warlocks so that we can get the full Warlock synergy. But the Ghost Prophet is extremely strong, and Soul Reaper is also strong as standalone units. And I mean, in this instance, they climb through us because they are only level 1 units at this point in time, or 1-star units. So Pavela, who's in 2nd position, is eating through us quite heavily.
Don't touch my trophy.
Our Skybreaker level 3 at least kept us in the game a bit longer, which means that we lost less HP, and he's now on a 5 win streak in 1st position. Immediately we get our 3-star Heaven Bomber, so that's great. We are now at the point of, and there's another Soul Reaper, so we might, I don't know if we're going to use the egg to level up that Soul Reaper. Okay, we decide to do heavy, okay, we decide to up to level 9, so this will get us our Storm Shaman on the board. Storm Shaman also you need to put frontline at this stage because he silences units, so it's important that when his ultimate goes off, also from a mana regen perspective, you can see now he got damaged, and he managed to, actually I don't know if he managed to get his ultimate off, but if he doesn't take the damage and he doesn't have mana crystals, it's going to take him forever to get that ultimate off. So now we're up against Anoxist, and he's running a Hunter comp, and we climb through that relatively straightforwardly. We must remember we now have 3 3-star units on the board in terms of Goblin mechs, and what we're looking for now is the Gamble piece, which is our Devastator. So it's really important that we get a Devastator. A helicopter also helps. It gives us, I think, the mech point, but not the, yeah, it's a dwarf piece, but we don't get the Goblin piece. But it's also really strong to have a helicopter. In fact, if you can get a helicopter and a Devastator, you're in a great position. Cool, so we've now rolled down. We don't have too much econ left. We still have a reasonable amount to level up if we win some games. And our composition is getting quite strong now. So Ghost Prophet should ultimate soon. Here she starts her ultimate, and Ghost Prophet's ultimate is really good. I think if you manage to allow it to roll out for the full duration of its action, it's actually quite powerful. So between that and Soul Reaper, we're in a good position. We do pick up another. There's our Devastator. Okay, great. So now that we've got our Devastator, if we can get another one, we've got Strange Eggs on the board. So this is a great opportunity for us to get our Goblin synergy in there. And what I want you guys to notice, you won't notice it this round because it's a creep round, but in the next round, and I think we'll probably get rid of the God of War probably soon, and then put the Ghost Prophet back on. But what you'll notice in the next round, I want you to see the difference in terms of the dropping of HP within the Goblin mech team. So what you'll notice is it takes a lot longer for them to lose HP because their armor is so much higher. I didn't click on it there, but if you looked really quickly, you would have seen his armor is already defaulted at 30, which is nice and high. So where we were just managing to stay alive by 1 or 2 pieces, or we were losing by 1 or 2 pieces, hopefully now you'll see the difference now that we have 6 goblins and 4 mechs on the board. So we have the full synergy, the full Goblin mech gamble has paid off. Or we hope it pays off. We'll see towards the last stages of the game. So there we do get rid of the God of War, which is what I expected. And Devastator we put at the front line. Devastator plants a bomb, so it's really important that the bomb is on the front line where all the other players are, but obviously you need to get the mana regen up there, so if we could get a mana item, that would be great. As I was mentioning earlier, notice how many pieces we have now. Okay, so this is Pefele. He was on the win streak at the top of the table not so long ago, and we're winning with 6 or 7 pieces there, and they're almost full health, most of them. So definitely a lot more powerful now that we have this setup going. It's a really nice setup. We also have 2 Strange Eggs, so if we find a Ghost Prophet, if we find another Devastator, or even a Storm Shaman, we can level 2 them quite quickly, and then our team will be even more strong. So really, this is a good position to be in. I might even have put the Devastator on the left hand side, because as you can see now, it's going to take forever for the Devastator to pick up its mana. So it's already 10 seconds in and it hasn't ultimated. So we've actually killed the team before he even manages to get his ult off. So that makes him a bit useless, right? He's now there just for the synergy, and you can see that we're winning on the other board as well. So we're in a strong position at this point in time. We've also managed to econ back up to 40, so we could potentially roll down now and actually try, yes, and I think we do that, try and find some of the other strong pieces. And we've already got a level 2. We're 2 strong. You can see we're actually quite unlucky here. We do pick up the Devastator, but I mean we rolled down quite a lot, but we didn't find any of the other pieces there. We didn't get the Storm Shaman or anything. But we do have our level 2 Devastator now, our 2-star Devastator, and you'll see the difference that he's making. We do need to look at a reposition because it's taking him forever to get his ultimate off. I don't even think he's got it off yet. Okay, he's been silenced in this round, so that's okay. Anoxist is also out, so we've actually got a level 2 Devastator who hasn't really done any damage for us. So that's really unfortunate, or any serious ultimate damage. You can see on the DPS board there, he really didn't provide us with much value. So that's not ideal. We would probably need to look at repositioning if there's time still in the game. I think it's reaching the final stages here. So we do get the 2-star of the Storm Shaman, which is just, there's RNG for you. We get 2 Storm Shamans the very next round, so that's a little bit unlucky. We could then have waited for Ghost Prophet, but obviously you don't know what's coming. And we get our Mana Crystal on, we put it on to Ghost Prophet, because she's the only 1-star unit there, and her attack's really valuable to us. Actually, I don't even think I ever realized this. Okay, there Devastator finally gets an ultimate off. Unfortunately, it's quite late in the game, so we didn't get the value that we wanted. But you can see the effect that even though Devastator didn't ultimate as much as we would have wanted to, I definitely needed to reposition him. But even, you know, that aside, the 6/6 Goblin synergy is absolutely, like, it's super powerful when it comes to producing armor. So it is something for you guys to consider. It's not it's definitely not a consistent build, but if you can get it right, it's awesome, and I love it when it works. So I really wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please support the channel, drop a like, drop a subscribe, and I really hope you guys enjoyed that, because I did. It was a great and fun game. So we'll catch you in the next video, and until then, enjoy, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.